This video shows you how to use the Force Builder spreadsheet for Bewegungskrieg or LWRS. This spreadsheet allows you to quickly create a force mix for a game based on a points or element total. However, as it's a spreadsheet and not an actual application, it's fiddly. Players should always keep an original unmodified copy in case they accidentally damage its delicate structure. Quick note about the tool. I always thought it would be impossible to create a tool that allowed you to quickly create a force mix until I saw something that was posted on the Core Commander site, which was a Visual Basic application which allowed you to construct a force mix for a game in Core Commander. And it actually worked quite well. The issue, of course, was loading up the data for each nation. All that was available was a very small part of the British and Soviet forces. So I put it to one side and basically thought that it was never going to amount to anything. And then I thought over a period of time that I could actually somehow convert what I call my army list spreadsheet. I currently have a actual army list based on whatever source material I can find that converts the information into something that various different rules can use, ranging from Core Commander, Spearhead, etc. And I thought if I could grab that data somehow and convert it into another format that allowed you to, using a pivot table in a spreadsheet, create force mixes. Anyway, this is the result. The spreadsheet is constantly being modified and updated. This version here is concerning an older version than what's physically available, but they all basically work the same. What is the Organisation Builder spreadsheet? The spreadsheet is designed for a wide range of periods and rules. This is dependent on the dataset loaded into it. In this case, we'll be showing you Bewegungskrieg for World War II. Bewegungskrieg is a reformatted version of LWRS or Lightning War Red Storm, and it is basically identical. The Force Builder spreadsheet can also be used for the original LWRS rules as well, with no modification. Both Bewegungskrieg and LWRS are exactly the same set of rules. The only difference is Bewegungskrieg is reformatted and there's a few optional rules built into it to fill gaps. This video is based on the version dated 28th of July, so always ensure you're using a version of the spreadsheet with a date equal to or greater than this. Updates are common, so you may find some changes, but the basic usage will remain the same. The user will only need to use the P1 worksheet, which is where the force building occurs. There is an instruction worksheet used by users and dataset loaders. The P0 worksheet lists all the level 1 formations, the full name and its short name. Level 1 basically is divisional or core level. The P2 worksheet lists all the equipment used in a formation. The P3 worksheet is a full description of the level 1 formation. The BO database is a database used to build the pivot tables. The BO copy is a working spreadsheet where the raw data is loaded from another spreadsheet to build the data used in the BO database. ODB copy is a database of points values. Key, the worksheet key, is used by the various pick lists. Just a quick note, since this version was printed or this video was created, the versions have slightly expanded, and you'll notice that there is a worksheet for a battalion level and a worksheet for regimental. Bewegungskrieg or LWRS uses the regimental sheets. The reason for this is that this spreadsheet is designed to cater for pretty much any kind of set of rules, from squad scale all the way up to regimental scale. LWRS basically is a regimental scale game. That is, you get all your regiment elements and you as the user then assemble them into the battalions you so desire. The original spreadsheet was designed for a lower level scale, platoon scale, where basically you looked at a battalion and you got all the elements and you built that in any particular way you so desired. So just note, when you go into it, look for the correct worksheet, which for LWRS is the regimental level. When we enter the P1 worksheet, the first thing we need to do is select the level 1 formation. There are two ways to do this, either using the short name or the full name. While the title is division, this could also include corps, brigades and aircraft sets. The aircraft sets do not represent any formations, instead they display a range of aircraft types such as fighters, fighter bombers and so on. Players select the aircraft types and numbers they wish to use. In most cases, the defender will select one set of fighters and the attacker the same and one set of ground support aircraft. Each period also includes attached formations, normally corps level. If a player wishes to attach corps level formations to their force mixes, they can do so. Players select all the level 1 formations they intend to use and basically select whatever they seem to want to use, basically. In most cases, this will include one divisional size formation and the appropriate period aircraft set. An example is RU Tank Corps 44 June and RU Aircraft 44-45. If you also want, in this case, Army level formations, then also select RU Army 44. Once it's been done, a player can select any element sets from the level 1 formations displayed in the pivot table. When you select a level 1 formation, this shows up in the A column. In column B, all the level 2, which are regimental formations, are listed. In column C, the level 3, in most cases, battalions are listed. Column D shows the total number of level 2 or regiments in that set. Column E, the total number of level 3 formations or battalions in your selected set. And column F, the total number of element sets. Column G shows the element set. An element set is all the elements or strength points in a single selection. It represents a total number of that element type in a battalion or regiment if you're using the regiment worksheet. A value of 1 times T3476E means that the battalion has a total of 1 element of T3476E, or in this case, strength points in it. Players can split these element sets if they wish. Finally, the total points value of the element set, so in our case, T34 example, is 22 points. This represents a raw value, unmodified by morale or quality. Now we move to the data entry component. Column I is the error flag. If you select more element sets than a formation allows, an error will show. Players can do this if they wish, but players should stay within the maximum allowed in order to stay reasonably historically accurate. If players select part of an element set, this error flag is not used, so beware. Column J shows the total number of level 2 formations, or the total number of regiments, and column K shows the total number of level 3 formations, or total number of battalions. It's the latter value which is the maximum value of element sets, as each battalion only has one element set of a particular type within it. Obviously, the regiment version of this spreadsheet uses regiments rather than battalions. Column L is where you enter the number of element sets. This should not exceed the value in column K. If you want to use only part of an element set, place a 0 in column L and select the number of elements, or in this case strength points, in column M. When you start a new force mix, you should ensure all values are blank in column L and column M. This is actually fairly important for LWRS or Bewegungskrieg because each element has 3 strength points, and you are always better off ensuring that when you start a game, every element does contain 3 strength points. So you're going to have to fiddle around here to get the correct force mix accordingly. Column N shows the points total of your selection, and cell N9 shows the total raw points total of all your selections. Column O shows the total element, or in this case, strength points of your selection. Once we've selected our force mix, we now select our quality or morale values. The rules which are loaded in the dataset is displayed along with the scale and some other information about it in the column corresponding to the rules. Other columns are blank, which means the data is not loaded for those rules. In this case, if you select cell Q2, you can select a pull down and select a morale value. The morale or quality modified points total is displayed in the same column. In column V, the total number of elements, or in this case strength points, is displayed. Once we've selected our force mix and morale values, or quality in the case of LWRS, the tool will display the output in column W to column Z. This lists the forces you will use in your game. I intend to create a second display section which will show this in a clearer manner, but this display will remain because I use it for other tools. You'll notice a number of rows which have no values. We will be removing these in the next slide. Incidentally, I did create an updated version of this display which is far clearer than what you see here, but quite frankly what you see here is quite clear regardless. Removing blank rows is simple. You'll notice a filter above the column which shows the element set selected. You simply click on the filter and unclick blank. This will remove all rows which do not contain values. This is the result once we have selected the filter and unselected blanks. This is a typical example, in this case an attacking force consisting of a Russian tank corps with some aircraft support. This is about the largest force you can field in Bewegungskrieg, or LWRS, and expect to come home at a decent time after the game at the end of the day. An average of 100 elements, total for both sides, over 12 game turns is about the largest and longest game you can reasonably consider for a full day of intensive gaming. 1 point, the subordinate to battalion column is required in order to know which elements belong to a specific battalion. In LWRS, a little bit of flexibility is required here because, quite frankly, the battalions need to be constructed by you, the player, from this list of elements. What you can see here is 11 types of battalions or combat units. Aircraft squadrons are self-explanatory. If we look at the first regiment size formation, which is the corps support, we can see this consists of some core support elements, a motorised engineer battalion, motorised rocket artillery battalion and anti-aircraft battalion. Players may attach some of these formations to lower formations before the game, and this is probably what would occur with the engineers in particular. The tool allows players to replace standard element types with optional element types. Not every element can be replaced in this manner, and only when a reasonable alternative was available is this made available as an option to select. To determine if there is an upgrade option, determine if the regiment and then battalion has a options entry. In this case, we are looking at one T-34 76E. Its parent regiment is Corps Troop, and this has a options entry. Then we look at the battalion formation, which is Corps Support. This also has an options entry. When we look for a replace T-34 76E E row, of which there are 3 options available, players would select the option they wish. When selecting, the difference in the points value is automatically input into the tool. In our example, the difference is 6 points, which is added to the total. The difference can be negative. If there are more than one element set, so a player may choose to upgrade all or only some of the element sets accordingly. This shows the output. When dealing with a large force, players need to ensure they match up the standard element set with the new optional element set to ensure they do not double count elements. Bewegungskrieg uses a system where each element consists of 3 steps, or strength points. This also obviously applies to LWRS. While it's possible to play the game with 1 or 2 strength point elements, and this occurs when casualties are inflicted, it's advisable for players to convert all the strength points into full 3 strength point elements. This is mainly due to playability reasons, as having a large number of 1 or 2 strength point elements increases the time required to play the game. The system used is at the combat unit level. All strength points are divided by 3 to arrive at a full strength element. Fractions are then rolled up to the next level of command, where they are divided up by 3 again. This continues until the highest level of command is reached. If there are any fractions remaining, players can either deploy 1 or 2 strength point elements, or combine unlike elements together. Players will need to be careful no gaming of the system occurs if the latter is chosen, and as much as possible, similar types of strength points should be combined. Any remaining strength points are either disposed of or used to form 1 or 2 strength point elements. Finally, some combat units can end up being too small. In this example, the Russian tank battalion consists of a one element combat unit, which is too small. Players could combine battalions to form reasonable combat units. In this case, either 2 combat units of 2 elements of T-34 or 1 combat unit of 4 T-34s. In summary, real life is not neat and tidy, and some flexibility and discretion is required. The scenario documents which come with this all have the elements at 3 full strength points, and as a result it will not be 100% accurate compared to its actual TO&E, but nonetheless it just makes it so much easier to play if you stick with 3 strength point elements. You can download the spreadsheet from the IO group site for Bewegungskrieg, which is where I place all the Bewegungskrieg material. Just to note, this all applies to LWRS. Remember always fight for your homeland, or in Deutsch, denken Sie daran, immer für Ihre Heimatland zu kämpfen.